Deep breath, right? 7 years. 7 years I've been the education chair, and my staff have been doing this 19 years of retrospective of Pam's career, and one of the highlights has been chairing this committee, and and as a mother, first and foremost, I've always been deeply invested in the growth of the education of our children. I've had to advocate for my children. I've shared it with you. My son, who, was in speech therapy before he hit kindergarten, first grade, oh my God, that first grade teacher, I love her, And so, and he went on with the same, teacher into the second grade, having them been diagnosed, ADHD, and her really noticing and taking the care, for Andrew. And the teachers that really helped to usher my son through without having an IEP, which was pretty remarkable. And that really is about the investment of the teachers. I've worked on a number of policy issues, and when Speaker Coughlin asked me in 2018 to become the chair, it was really, truly a entirely new challenge for me. Even though I had been in higher ed, even though I chaired higher ed, I chaired women and children, I was in finance institutions and all these other committees, this was different. This was a whole nother Megillah that I had no idea what I was getting myself into. But certainly the breadth and the depth of this topic were, really far larger and more complex than any of my other chair experiences. I really chose to take a simple approach, and it was really what Jonathan talked about. It was really giving those experts and the experts in this room this opportunity to be heard. And when you give that opportunity and you sit back and you listen, because you don't know anything and all you have to do is listen, you heard more consensus than you heard opposition. And when you can work with individuals to find that consensus and bring people together, it gives the momentum to be able to work on other more lofty pieces of legislation. So I can't thank some of the professionals in this room enough. Your collegiality is, as Deb said, this is the way everybody should run a committee. The collegiality amongst all of you is the way that all of the lobbyists who have to sit in a room together really should be working together. I've been privileged to be able to work with Senator Ruiz. I can't close out any of this without talking about the senator and the great work, that she has done, her passion, when we had to do and talk about, school safety. We took it on the road. We were up north, we were in central, we were in south, and it was with her, support and guidance that we actually came up with some really significant changes to ensure the fact that our schools were safer. So I really applaud her passion. And she has instilled that upon Senator Vengopal. As many of you know, just because you're the chair in the Assembly doesn't mean you always get along with the Senate counterpart, right? And you don't always listen to the same pieces of legislation, and it can drive your community members really kind of crazy because they're running in one direction and the other. And all of that counts. I mean, all of that really matters. And so, it's not something that day one I figured this out. This has taken many, many years of doing this, trying to figure this out, and happy to impart my experience on others. And talking about imparting my experience on others, we've had so many new members, this year. And, to be fair, I was really, really apprehensive. New members, trying to remind everybody, we've thought about that idea before, we've worked on that idea before, but all of you didn't do that. I mean, you did not do that. You came in with your expertise. And what was really great this year has been, having expertise on this committee, which has, I think, made a real difference, and it would be something that I would recommend, to the Speaker going forward. Assemblyman Simonson has been a great minority chair here. He has been very selective when he opposes, And because of that, I listen really hard to when he opposes things. He is an educator himself, and so, he speaks from what he knows, and I applaud him on being, selective about, his opposition to things. But it really made me pay a little bit more attention. We talked about mental health today, and I'm glad we talked about mental health today, because mental health in schools has been one of the primary things that we have worked on, new methods, new improvements, and certainly, COVID really threw us all into a tizzy about the challenges while the students were doing it via Zoom, and then while they were, coming back, and still we're very concerned about the mental health. And it is not just about the students, it is about the teachers, it's about the administrators and their mental health, and the stress and the strain, that COVID all put you through. And so, there's always more work to do when it comes to this. Chris Jones is here, representing, our great Department of Education and the Commissioner, and, their jobs are tough. It's not easy. There's so much work to be done, and we all question, why didn't they do it already, and why haven't they implemented something? And it's another one of those partnerships that you really need to develop. And Assemblywoman Begoli came to me with something, already this morning, and I'm trying to give good guidance about how to approach, finding resolutions about the issues for the constituents that we represent. There's lots of tools and techniques, to be able to be accomplished in what we do here. First of all, it's really about showing up. It's really about showing up. And it's not just showing up here. It's about showing up in places where you don't think you ever should have been. It's, sitting in the back of the room at a school board meeting. Show up, right? Maybe you have to wear something that you're a little bit disguised so that people aren't finding you. But it's showing up in some other places. And I think that has really helped me greatly to really understand, how the decisions that we make here really do affect the constituents that we represent. So I encourage everybody to show up. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about, our partners or our wheels that make all of this go. I've had wonderful OLS aides. What they need to do, in terms of drafting pieces of legislation, hearing from various members, and the knowledge that they need to be able to draft these pieces of legislation are far superior than anything that I could ever do, or really, any layman could do. So the work that you do really, really matters, and I appreciate it. To the majority office staff, typically it's Andrew, but it's Sam here. Majority office staff, again, I've been very lucky to be able to have majority staff that have really bought into this. And you need staff who have bought into this. And I've been very lucky. And the minority staff as well has been really engaged, with this committee. I myself have been extremely lucky. I think somebody said it in reference to my legislative policy people, Jade Bocelli, Ray Woods, and now Chris Nelson. And I can't thank them enough for making me look good. And they truly are dedicated, to their job, and dedicated to me, and dedicated to education here in New Jersey. I will really miss my service in the Assembly, but my time in education, being one of the biggest facets, I really thank everybody who has helped me learn and grow, and we are here for the students and show up. So thank you all very much.
So if you could just indulge me for no more than a minute. Pam's legacy is one of passion, perseverance, and principle. From the moment she took office, she brought with her an unrelenting dedication to the people she served and a steadfast belief in the power of good governance to enact meaningful change. In my relatively short time on this committee, but we have served together for my 6+ years, I've had the chance to witness Pam's incredible work as the chair of the Assembly Education Committee. Pam's hallmark as a legislator has been her ability to listen, truly listen, and I think that's what we heard from everyone today. She listened to educators, to parents, to students, and to all those whose lives are impacted by the decisions made in Trenton. It was this deliberative and thoughtful approach to policy making that earned her the respect and admiration of colleagues on both sides of the aisle, and you just demonstrated that in what you said. Pam, I wish you the very best of luck in your work beyond the Assembly, and thank you so much for all that you've contributed to this body. We will certainly miss you.
Lisa, we're not done. We're not done. Lisa said a lot of things I want to say, but I'm going to say it. I have not known you that long, Pam, but I have sat in this committee room, and when they said you can teach a master class in sharing a committee, the way you handled the Freedom to Read bill, the way that you have taught us, the newbies, just how to think outside of what maybe our expertise and everything we think that we are the champions of, but to also consider other groups and their other thoughts and how to approach things and the way to look at them from various lenses that maybe we've never seen before because we haven't served for so long. The mentorship that has been provided, at least to me in this committee, I will take with me forever. I am truly appreciative of everything that you have done and the way that you have led this committee. Thank you. Lots of admiration from this side.
I'm echoing everything everyone said, but most importantly, as a new Assemblywoman as well, I think, you've heard it from Assemblywoman Begoli. I've learned so much from you, just watching you lead with such grace, patience, and just your commitment to wanting to do what's best for our children in the state of New Jersey. And that leadership style that you have presented to us, for me, this was the first committee meeting I attended as an Assemblywoman. And watching you lead this committee with that grace and patience just have taught me so much about being a true leader, and that's who you are. And I just want to thank you for your phenomenal leadership. I know that you have inspired so many of us to continue the important work that we continue to do here in the Education Committee. And all the things that you've championed over the year, I know that we will continue that legacy, but you're leaving behind a true legacy that it is going to be hard to fill. And I know that whatever policy you have shaped in the years of you being a leader here in this Education Committee, it's going to really shape the education policy for many years to come, and I thank you for that.
Madam Chair, I had to say it one last time, but I always made sure to address you as Madam Chair because I think that you really personified, like was said before, what the chairwoman is supposed to be. So I'm part of the newbie group, and we're proud of it. But sometimes veterans may look at newbies as newbies and remind us that, take it easy, little guy. You have what to learn. And we never felt that way in this committee. On the contrary, before every committee hearing, we gather in your office, and you have conversations with us, and you want to hear everyone's opinion. And that is truly, truly commendable. I'll say one more point, on a personal point, is that there's the legislator, and then there's the person. As a legislator, as a chairperson, you're a role model. On a personal point, you take an interest in our legislation. I had a bill, I introduced it. It passed this committee. Every time we've met, you've asked me, Avi, how's your bill doing? Where's it up to? That's special, because it's not just about checking a box and saying, okay, I got it through my committee. There's an interest, there's a care about your fellow members. And that's something that I think all of us need to strive to become on a personal level, to care about each other. So thank you for the lessons you've taught us. I'm definitely going to take it with me, and we wish you only the best, but we will definitely be in touch. Thank you.
I also want to take a minute, if I might, to thank Assemblywoman Lampitt for her service. Truly, you have been just a godsend to the Education Committee, but more importantly, you've become a very important part of my family, and I thank you for allowing me to have that friendship with you, watch your children grow, watch you become a grandmom, and I anticipate that our friendship will last long beyond the State House walls. But I just wanted to go on the record and thank you so much for everything you've done on behalf of the students of this state and the citizens of this state. Thank you.
I've had the pleasure and privilege of working with you as an OLS staffer, as a legislative liaison, and in my capacity at the School Boards Association for close to 20 years. And I've also had the privilege of being a constituent of yours for about 15 years. And I'll continue to be so in your new capacity. So I just wanted to thank you for your leadership on this committee and everything that you've done, your collegiality, your friendship, your professionalism. I could go on and on and on. But I did want to just share a quick little anecdote that I think is informative, and I wanted to share it with the rest of this committee. As you know, when we entered the pandemic, we were really struggling, particularly, across the world. We all had our issues, but particularly in public education. Day after day, we never knew what was in store for us. And you were serving as the chair at that time. And it was pretty early on in the pandemic when you took the opportunity to start holding regular meetings with my partners here at the Garden State Coalition, PSA, NJEA, ASA, a group of stakeholders where we would just get on a call, get on a Zoom. We didn't really have any agenda or anything like that. It was really just to catch up. And you would sort of just begin all these meetings with, what's keeping you up at night? What's keeping your members up at night? And it gave us the opportunity to, share our concerns, to inform you about what was going on in the field. And it really helped inform the work of this committee and the work that you did here. It really showed compassion, empathy, and leadership. And we all felt heard. We felt heard. And I think that's a model for anyone who ends up replacing you in that seat moving forward, to work with us, to develop that understanding. We have a really great network here, that we all try to work together and work with you so that you can build legislation that's in the best interest of students, and you've accomplished that. And I want to thank you for your service, and really look forward to you continuing to be friends with you, to share that collegiality. But there are big shoes to fill here, and I hope that people will take that as a model moving forward. So thank you, Assemblywoman.
I really do appreciate all of your kind words, and I feel like, these next 2 weeks are going to be like the Pam goodbye tour. Yesterday, Penn served up an unbelievable retirement party to me, and with lots of emotion, and I do feel that you need to know when it's time to go, people, right? There's such great energy with some of the new people. There really is such great energy, and you need to know when it's time to go. I don't always have the newest ideas and the best ideas, and giving other people the opportunity to have this responsibility. Only 120 of us, right, have this responsibility to better the lives of the people of New Jersey. And anybody who wants this should be able to have this opportunity to do so. So I do thank you all. I have the gavel in my hand, and I'm going to end this committee meeting before I cry. So thank you all very much. I appreciate it.